smaller companies can compete against the big guys. You know, you can, because you can be more agile, you can pivot, you can maybe be a little bit more risky, right? Like when we've gone after or had larger enterprise type customers, sometimes going through the compliance, the approval process, by the time the content's ready, it's like outdated.
Hey, welcome back to the show. We are so excited today to have Wendy with us because not only I've never met a Wendy I didn't like, but also her business, it just has the perfect name. So Wendy, will you please tell us who you are and what you do?
Yes, gladly. Thank you, Todd, for having me. So I'm Wendy Lieber. I am the CEO and co-founder of Content Bacon. We are yes, woo. Everybody loves bacon, even vegetarians. We're a content subscription service. So we help companies tell their story through tasty custom content that generates more awareness, more leads, and ultimately more revenue. So our passion is really just helping companies tell their story in a way that resonates with their target audiences.
I love that. I love that you said tasty content, and I love that that's in your tagline. Everything about your brand has got to be so fun. You guys must sit in front of a whiteboard and just think, all right, what else can we do? We got a pig. We got also, This is just perfect. So I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So Wendy, why are you doing this? What is driven you to solve? What problem are you solving? Tell us that.
Yeah, so this is my second company. I had a strategic marketing company before that did a lot of like customized consulting, very,
right.
Just like everything was different. And
yeah,
I was looking for a way to grow and scale my business, and that was not the company that I wanted to grow and scale. And secondly, I was really noticing that companies were struggling with their content, all types of content. And it was becoming more and more important, to have that consistent digital presence. And so that's kind of where the impetus for a content subscription service was born. And then I met my partner in the EO Accelerator program who had a branding identity company. And we decided to join forces to really solve that problem, to help companies be able to create and distribute content on a consistent basis that was actually compelling, interesting, and that they could afford. So I always like to say every company has a compelling story to tell, but most are either not doing it at all or not doing it well. And I believe we solve that problem.
I would have to agree with you 120,000%. I think honestly, there's a lot of great companies. And for whatever reason, they have zero content strategy. And you're looking at them like, you don't even have a listing on Google Maps, let alone Google, and your website is horrible. How are you coming in? Like, who are your targets? Who's your avatar that you're really looking for? Is there a niche? Is there a specific group you're going after?
I mean, we do a lot of work with companies in the technology space, healthcare, a lot of professional services, which, is a big bucket of accountants, insurance agents, coaches, financial services. So those are like our main, industry verticals. Yeah. But it's usually companies that probably have 10 or more employees, maybe don't have a fully fleshed out marketing team. They might have one person, half a person, and they understand the importance of content. So we're not trying to convince anyone.
Right.
We've learned that that's not the audience. They either have tried it themselves and realized how hard it is and believe in the concept, what gets outsourced gets done.
Right.
Or they're doing it and have got a content strategy, but just they've seen it work and want more. And so bring us in to help leverage what they're already doing.
I love it. I would imagine, though, that you're bringing in a lot of strategy with you, right? I mean, that's a lot of the value you're bringing in.
That's a big part of it, is developing the strategy, really helping our customers determine what their why is, how to articulate it, what those topics are, and then not only create that overriding strategy that then, develop the content, post
Right.
the content, measure, so that over time we can really see the impact or not, if we're not having the impact we
Totally.
want, and we can make, we can make the recommendation so that we get there. Because it's definitely not like a direct response, like, hey, let me try this for a couple months. You're building an asset,
Right.
as you know, I'm sure you get results from podcasts you did
Yep.
years ago, and you have this asset. That's we're in like this a similar
We totally are.
game where content that you created.
No,
Yeah.
Wendy, you're hitting the nail on the head, and I absolutely love you and your business because you're literally talking about my content strategy. We're talking about everyone's got a unique content strategy, and I know what mine is. You are awesome because you go into businesses who don't have one and say, guess where your people live, right? And when you do that exercise with people, tell us about that. How do you help people determine who their avatar is and where they live? Because that is the fundamental prowess of what you do in content strategy, right?
Yeah. So, it starts during the sales process, if you will, just by finding out where the pain points are, where the gaps are, what's working, what's not. And then we have a really strong onboarding process that our customers have to go through, filling out a questionnaire. And
cool.
But then our team really does a lot of the research on their business, their competitors, their industry. And in the beginning, it is a bit of a heavy lift.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of, questions and probing so that we can understand. And part of the content creation process, it's iterative. The more you do it, the more clear it becomes. So you may not know initially what the right tone, what the right personality is, because you've never gone through the process. And it's only by going through it that you start to see what resonates, what doesn't.
Totally.
One of the easiest things, I think, and for companies that are out there that want to try to do it on their own, is frequently asked questions, either that your prospects and customers are already asking or you wish they would ask.
Right.
That's one of the easiest ways to kind of start to build out a content strategy, because just by those questions and starting to answer them, and not just like 1 or 2 word answers, but really going deep, as a company, you learn a lot because you might not always have the answers. Right. And so you start to have more, meaty, sizzling conversations as a result, where then content can get created.
Meaty, sizzling conversations.
I know you'd love that.
You are just on it. I just love how the bacon just spews out of you. It's like in you. This is amazing.
It's easy.
It is easy. I love your brand. Oh, it's so fun. All right. So Wendy, as you go in and help them figure out what sizzles for their business, there's a lot to it. I know you're giving some helpful hints, and honestly, truthfully, for those of you out there, as big influencers like an Alex Hormozi would tell you, just start, because man, nothing worse than people that just talk about it, and then they never launch anything, right?
Yeah. That's like, when's the best time to plant a tree, right? It was 20 years ago. So, you can either be pissed that you haven't done it yet and, get mad at, what your competitors are doing, or you can get started. And I think that's one of the things I love about our industry is that smaller companies can compete against the big guys. You can, because you can be more agile, you can pivot, you can maybe be a little bit more risky, right? Like, when we've gone after or had larger enterprise type customers, sometimes going through the compliance, the approval process, by the time the content's ready, it's like outdated because it takes forever. So I think it's so great that companies can compete, and, you can be your own publisher. We've all got the means to get the content out there, and it can begin working, effectively. Alex Hormozi, you mentioned, like, it almost seems like he came up overnight, and, it's like he's been doing it, but it's like that guy pumps out a lot of content, Gary Vaynerchuk, but you don't have to do to that extreme, because, so many industries aren't doing it at all. And so what you do can really stand out and differentiate very quickly.
just a few seconds to let you know about a project that we've been putting together for the last several months, and we're finally launching it, called the Captain's Council. You see, as a CEO or operator of a business, it can feel like you get stuck in your own head a lot of the time. You get challenges that you don't know how to resolve. You get people causing problems in your leadership team that you don't know how to resolve. And it's so hard to overcome those things by yourself. You don't have to anymore. Join the Captain's Council. Captain's Council is a group of other CEOs and operators and owners of businesses where we come together once a month for several hours to discuss the biggest challenges you're facing. You express to the council of 8 to 10 people about what's going on. Where do you feel stuck? And these other people are in the same boat as you. They're running and operating their own businesses. They're your peers. They help you kind of dissect what's happening and help you see things that you may not have seen all by yourself. If you don't have a good, strong network of people around you, come join the Captain's Council. This is going to be something that will change the way you run your business and open your eyes to opportunities that you have never seen without the help of your peer group. Come check it out, captainscouncil.com. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I was just watching an interview of him this morning, and he was saying he went from producing like 6 pieces of content a week to 80 pieces of content a week. And so that is something you probably don't want to do on your own. Definitely that's advanced strategy. But Wendy, I love how you gave some advice on just starting with FAQs. Just start by telling people how to solve the problems that you solve. And I think that's a great place to go. What do they need to get going in podcast production?
Yeah, I think that having a place on your website where you're posting new content on a consistent basis, so people have a reason to come back. I think another, gold mine that most companies are missing is their own database and not reaching out to that database frequently enough.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
And there's usually, again, like I like to say that most people have $1 million sitting in their database. They just, haven't mined it properly. So,
100%.
Using your database with, good content that solves a problem for your customers. It's not about you. It's about them. And so figuring out
100%.
what is going to be useful. And it is like the give before you get philosophy. Not that I'm opposed.
No doubt.
Some of the content is salesy and asking for the order, but you've got to be useful because people don't want to be, sold to and promoted, you promoting yourself all the time. So that to me is usually like low hanging fruit that just starting that, you'll start to see some activity. Obviously making sure if you have social media profiles, which you should, but if you're going to have them, make sure that you're contributing, that you're being social on them, and that you're not just expecting to post some content here and there and the sales start rolling in.
People come gushing in, right?
You got to interact with people. You got to be willing to, comment on their stuff, share their stuff, but all that starts to work together and really build momentum. And then
Wendy,
communicating with your current customers. Sorry to interrupt, but that's another area where I think companies really drop the ball is they forget that they've already got this, base of, customers that actually like love working, with you. Talk to them, keep them informed of what you're doing. That was a big aha for us a couple years ago where companies started with us with the very basics and we weren't doing a good job letting them know, well, did you know we did these other things? And so they would be, getting those services from other companies when they could get them from us, which is what they prefer to. And that's just solved through, content to current customers.
Awareness. Yeah. No, it's so fascinating. I've talked to so many people who have gotten serious about their content production game. And sometimes the people with the fewest number of followers have the best group of followers. And they literally are there because of the value they get. And they say, hey, we're going to do an event in Fort Lauderdale this summer. Guess who comes? Like 80% of their followers. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So Wendy, as you as you come up and develop this strategy with people and they start to work through this like ideation and how do I want to be represented here? There are so many different ways. To your point, you talked about bringing awareness to your clients. You talked about trying to attract your clients, trying to attract them through solving the problems that they ask about on Google or YouTube. But there's also the idea of interviewing your clients, helping them get some growth. You know what I mean? It's a big deal.
Absolutely. Yeah. We do a lot of what we call like subject matter expert type content where it's very much, one of our editors with the actual subject matter expert pulling out that information and then creating content, whether it's written, whether it's visual, video, all of the above, to share that. And, obviously what you do, is a perfect way to, companies should have podcasts because it's a great way to interview their customers to get at that expertise that, again, you've got gems in your company, but they just can't get out of their way to share it. And so, we love like pulling that out and turning it into something that is useful and that will have an impact on their audiences.
Love it. All right, Wendy. So now let's take a step back.
Yes.
I love the conversation so far because I am obviously a big proponent of content creation. I do it every day, like every day I'm producing content. And I will tell you right now, there's huge value in it. And people like Wendy are going to be able to walk you through why it works and how you actually get this going. And if you don't have your own private team like I do, I'm very spoiled in having my own private team. You've got to work with a content production group like Wendy. I mean, it's all in the bacon. If the sizzle's working and the fat's burning, everything just works better. If it smells good, go to it. Go to it. And Wendy, your company smells good. Pass the litmus test.
Thank you.
So, Wendy, let's talk about your business now. Content Bacon. You started 8 years ago. I'm assuming everything has gone perfectly. Like, give us some highlights of the growth journey.
Yeah. So we have had really, really nice growth year over year. We've, definitely through like expanding our team, expanding our product line, just doing our own content, right? Like, taking our own advice and reaping the rewards of that. So it's been a really fun journey. Things like the pandemic, certainly for us, we didn't, have an impact, or we didn't have a negative impact, I should say. It's, it
Lucky.
affected us probably more positively because so many companies that weren't paying attention to their digital presence during that time period were like, wow, we better get serious. And even
proud of you.
The AI boom, which many, sometimes think, well, content's going to go away because it's just going to all be AI, has actually given us a boost too, because it's created, again, more awareness on how important content is and having human touch to make it impactful. So, those are the highs. When we've certainly had our share of challenges or, opportunities to solve problems. But, this has been for me just a really good journey. I think one of the things that I get the most pleasure out of is developing our team and, having just such an amazing team that, is really responsible for the success of our company. Previous from the company I had before, where it was really just all about me, having a company that truly, I just went on a 14-day vacation a couple weeks ago and made the decision, like I was going to really be checked out and just see, like, did anything break? And nothing broke.
I love that.
Testament to to my team. And again, like at the end of the day, why we want to create businesses, right? Not so we can work harder, but so we can develop a team and we can work in our genius zone.
Love it. I can't agree with you more. And for those of you listening who are not yet at that blessed stage where you can walk away for a couple of weeks and rarely check in and things didn't break. If you're not there, you have to get there. Like that, you cannot grow and scale without reaching that point of execution. And Wendy, tell us how that happened. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. Typically at the beginning stages of a company, you've got all these multi-hat wearing people that can do just about anything. How did you start to recognize, I need specialists. I need people that can run this part, this part, this part, and this part. What did you do?
Well, I think part of it is me trusting my team more and not being maybe as much of a micromanager as I started out.
Yeah.
And just recognizing where I was interfering with the growth of the company by stepping in and not allowing my team to do what I hired them to do, and also make mistakes and be okay with that. And, I think it's, when you go from having a company where basically, I ate what I killed, to having a company that I really had a trusted team, it was a mindset shift for me to really get clear on what I wanted and what I was willing to do to get there. So that was first and foremost. And then, having processes, setting your team up for success, because when you have a team that is expected to wear multiple hats, you burn them out very quickly. And
very quickly,
we did that. And it wasn't until we got very clear on what we were and what we weren't, and willing to say no, and really set our team members up for success, because we had a consistent way to do it and we weren't just figuring it out all the time, that allowed us to grow and scale and really retain team members, because they were experiencing success and fulfillment, and not every day having to wonder what fire they were going to have to put out, which again is fun sometimes, but when it's happening all the time, it's no fun. And so that was a big learning and aha for me, because as an entrepreneur, and I can work at that pace, but you can't expect the people you hire to be the same as you.
100%. Nor do you want them to be, right? I mean, you do not want people just like you, because as a founder, you have to set the vision. You got to set the culture. You got to, show what you want to have done, but then let other people better than you take it and run with it and go, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Crazy. Oh, Wendy, I love this story. This is a great conversation. Now, as you've gone and grown, and as you've been building out the strategy, and I know that content strategy today is not the same as it was in 2015.
Nope.
But as you've evolved with all of that, help us understand, what big challenges have you hit? I mean, if COVID was a blessing to you, I'm curious to know what things have kind of smacked you in the face and you're like, oh, didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, I don't know that there's been anything out there that's been the biggest challenge. I think it's just been how to structure the team, how to, maybe setting customer expectations. And
that's a big deal.
I alluded to our onboarding process earlier. I think that's been where we used to try to make it seem like it was easy. Yes, we'll bring you on and, instantly, we'll be creating content for you, and really getting clear that that's not the case, and that we do need your involvement in the beginning. And so setting customer expectations and being willing to walk away from a sale if we're not aligned. So I think that was a learning that, again, trying to make it seem too easy when it really isn't that easy in the beginning. Ultimately, the goal, it gets easier and easier. So I think that was a learning that, I have to, give my team credit for, because they're the ones who, would help me understand where the challenges were. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, listen, if you're still doing onboarding, you're in the wrong place, because it's your team that really needs to onboard and let them know, okay, here's what's going on. It's going to take us 2 weeks to get all your info if we get it all in, at a reasonable time. And then at that point, we can start talking this, right? I mean, to your point, setting the expectation through an onboarding sequence that actually works will change the entire customer experience, in my opinion.
I would say another area too is transitioning from founder selling to having a team that can do business development.
Yes.
And I think that also goes back to having a process, having a strategy, because again, I think it's sometimes easy, like, to sell when you're the founder and like you created it and it's, but then being able to train a sales team is very different. And, bringing in the experts to do that and hiring the right type of people. So, it's making sure we're outsourcing the things that aren't our core competencies so that we can grow and that we're not trying to do it all ourselves.
I love it. Love it. Wendy, love the conversation. I hope this is good content for you. I know it's great content for me. My audience is going to eat this up because, first of all, it's yummy, it's tasty, sizzles. It is good. And so for those of you listening, honestly, engage with someone like Wendy. Engage with Wendy. I mean, this is really a great opportunity for you to get in the face of someone who produces content all the time. And if you don't have a content strategy, you really do just need to start. You got to be in touch with your audience. They are there. There are people that you serve that are hanging out in places like LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever that they hang out. And if you're not there, guess who they're never watching? You. And guess who they likely are watching? Your competitors.
Yep.
Because most people have a content strategy. And if you don't, you're going to lose your clients to someone else. Wendy, will you please help us understand, like, as you've gotten into this, give a shout out to somebody who's kind of inspired you to do what you're doing now with your business.
Yeah, goodness, there's so many people, who comes to mind right now is my second in command. Sarah Miller is her name. She's my integrator, my chief of staff. And I think what inspires me about her is, one, it does allow me to operate in my genius zone and be the visionary and go out and create, new opportunities and have someone who keeps me in check and is willing to, push back when she feels the need, but also someone who can support and align with me and help us continue to take this company to the next level. And lately, she just keeps getting better and better. And I just feel so lucky. And I know other, CEOs out there that have that relationship. It's such a blessing when you have it. And when you don't, it really can create a lot of turmoil.
It's heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Oh, it's so heavy. It's a burden. Yeah, it's just a burden. And when you need people to lift your burden, not add to it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, love it, Wendy. Well, thanks for the shout out. And for those of you listening, if you don't have someone in your corner like that that's taking burden away from you rather than just adding to it, you're hiring the wrong people.
Yeah.
Hire up, get people that you think you can never get, and they will provide the value, hopefully, that you need to lift your burden. So, Wendy, thanks so much for taking the time to be here with us, honestly. And I honestly I'm craving some bacon right now. I might go make some. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate it. This was fun.
All right. And for those of you listening, we'll catch you on the next episode. What did you think of that interview? I loved it. I absolutely, what a pleasant woman, what a pleasant conversation, and what an amazing business. I love what she's done. When I got an email from her assistant about being on the show, I literally saw the name of the company. I'm like, anyone with a company named Bacon is on the show. I'm a huge keto guy. Bacon's part of my regular diet. I love it. But her company is awesome. I love the growth. I love what she does. I love how she provides a solution. And I just think she's out there to help people like you. As I mentioned earlier, if you're not in the content production game, you gotta be. Otherwise, your competitors are gonna be. And if you're losing out business to them because you're not picking up your game, that's nobody's fault but your own. Make content production a big piece of your strategy. One of the things that I loved about Wendy too is she's part of an organization that has a peer network group of CEOs. And she is amazing, and she's been doing this for over 8 years as well. Being part of a peer community of CEOs can make or break, I would say make, your experience as a CEO all the more amazing. Why? Because you essentially have a board of advisors, a peer group of other CEOs actively running their companies who are there to help guide you through the challenges that they've been through. And who knows, you may provide a lot of value to somebody else. Yes, you're that important of a person. So if that's you and you want to be part of something like that, check out captainscouncil.com. Captain's Council is the place where you can become part of a council. You become part of a group of an intimate group of 8 to 12 members where you can talk, discuss challenges, discuss goals, marketing and revenue goals, ways that you're trying to improve the footprint of your business. This is the group that will help you. Nothing is off the table in terms of asking advice. No one's going to judge you for thinking that you're stupid, for not knowing the answer to that thing. And everyone is there to guide and help each other grow and scale the companies. There is no better place to do it. This podcast is just the tip of the iceberg of advice, comments, and feedback that you get from real founders building real businesses. Check out captainscouncil.com and keep on enjoying this content. We're going to keep delivering it free. Like, share, and subscribe. The Growth and Scaling Podcast is the place to start learning how other people have done it. So don't go away. We'll catch you on the next episode.